Hi everyone, I recently finished the Bible, A Very Short Introduction, 2nd edition by John Riches, Emeritus Professor of Divinity and Biblical Criticism at Glasgow University. While far from a comprehensive or even a concise summary of the Bible's contents, this was still a really cool book with some very in-depth analysis. While touching on many books within the Bible, the main focus was on the book of Genesis in the Old Testament and Galatians in the New Testament. I really enjoyed the progression of Genesis' story of Abraham and Isaac, which can be interpreted quite differently depending on your standing in society. Paul's interpretation of it in Galatians, which was then further examined by the likes of Thomas Aquinas and Martin Luther, which reverberated into how modern society is shaped. This very short introduction also examines the gradual composition of the Bible and establishment of its canon, the Protestant Reformation, Christianity's entry into South America and Africa, and how it continues to interface with modern society and politics. Something I really appreciated about the book is that the author repeatedly emphasizes that while the Bible has provided immense wisdom and support to countless millions throughout history, it has, of course, often been misused to justify inconceivable atrocities. The final sentence of the book reads, "What are required are discriminating readers, alert to its life-giving potential, on their guard against its darker tones." At 139 pages, plenty of subject matter was omitted. There was very little mention of the most well-known stories, such as the Garden of Eden and Noah's Ark. Even the story of Jesus, his disciples, and the resurrection were surprisingly brief. Still, this was a really cool book for all of its subject matter that it did manage to cover, and for its grounded presentation that is accommodating to all types of readers. Highly recommended. And if you'd like to stick around, here are the top 5 notes I took from the book. Number 1, from pages 67 and 68, Marcion of Sinope. In what was a huge threat to the church, Marcion of Sinope, who lived from 85 to 160 AD, interpreted that the dialogue between Peter and Paul in Galatians suggests that there were two distinct divine beings, that of the much harsher God in the Old Testament, and that which Jesus embodied. Number 2, from pages 71 through 75, the Gnostic and Manichaen religions versus Martin Luther and St. Thomas Aquinas. The first two religions emphasize dualism, the idea that the flesh is the manifestation of evil and the spirit the manifestation of good. Luther and Aquinas were more inclined to believe that flesh was not purely evil, but of a different hierarchy, and could be overcome through God's forgiveness. Number 3, from pages 82 and 83, reactions to Nicolaus Copernicus. Copernicus's theory of heliocentrism was in such direct conflict with certain passages of the Bible that Martin Luther and his disciple Manichaens outright dismissed it. Other theologians, such as Andreas Osiander, suggested that heliocentrism was merely a hypothesis, and men were not capable of understanding the workings of the universe. Number 4, from page 91, Pope John Paul II's Peru visit. When Pope John Paul II visited Peru, he received an open letter from several indigenous groups that read, "John Paul II, we Andean and American Indians have decided to take advantage of your visit to return to you your Bible, since in 5 centuries it has not given us love, peace, or justice. Please take back your Bible and give it to our oppressors, because they need its moral teachings more than we do." And number 5, from page 93, Bartolome de Las Casas. The first priest ordained in the New World, a chaplain to the Spanish armies which conquered Cuba in 1513, and a one-time slave owner, he became a resolute opponent of the Spanish conquest. Much of his power and influence was withdrawn from the Spanish government shortly thereafter. All right, and that was my look at the Bible, A Very Short Introduction, 2nd edition by John Riches. Highly recommend this book, no matter your faith or background. All right, Thank you for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.